Hello, CBSN and Facebook Live. You know, a couple weeks ago on CBS This Morning, I love when this happens. You have a book on that you just think is so great. You run out of time and you say, please come back, please come back. It happened again with this book. Please tell us the name of the book.
Extreme You. Step up, stand out, kick ass, repeat.
Repeat. And you are?
Sarah Robb O'Hagan.
Okay. So for the purpose of this conversation, Sarah, nice to have you back. This is what I liked about you, how you described yourself. Big, bold, over the top, laugh till you snort, opinionated, don't sit on the sidelines, mega enthusiastic kind of gal, and oh, by the way, you've got giant man feet.
Mm-hmm. That would be them right here. Let's just go there. Yeah.
But this is what struck me about your life, because at one point in your career, you're very successful, but at one point you were president of a $5 billion global sports brand, which was?
Gatorade.
Yep. But you start out like this. I'm not perfect. Much of my life I was just average, and you say perfection is overrated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you mean by that, Sarah? Because we're raised to, try to get good grades, try to be not necessarily perfect, but be as great as you can.
Absolutely. And it's funny because the whole incidence of me writing the book came because once I actually had achievement, which took me until I was like 40, by the way, people start writing.
How old are you now?
I'm just about to turn 45.
Okay.
People start writing articles about the achievements and like, you've won this award and you've done this thing. And they completely miss the fails that happen along the way. And I suddenly went, whoa, like if you're a young person, that's making it look really impossible.
Right.
And for me, as I have shared, well, you've read the book, I was fired twice in my 20s. Let's just go there, right? And there's no way I could have led the turnaround of a very complex $5 billion business if I hadn't gone through those two experiences to make me tougher, to make me self-aware,
But you said fired in your 20s, but still that didn't deter you.
No.
That did not take you under.
Well, yeah, a lot of
Did you deserve to be fired?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
100%. Like, I was that person, like I was the rogue force on the team that was just bitching and moaning about management, And quite frankly, I was over my skis. I was working for Virgin Megastores. Do you remember when we had CDs, round things that had music on them?
I do.
And the business was actually going down because Napster had come along. So the business was in crisis. I knew nothing about the business. And instead of having the self-awareness to ask for help and say, I don't have all the answers, I just blasted on as if I did. And what ends up happening? You get fired. And the learning for me was like, you have to actually show people that it's better to be vulnerable, it's better to ask for help, it's better to say you haven't got the answers than to just make bad decisions and get in trouble.
You also say that, as bad as failure is, fear is even worse.
Yes, definitely.
But it's so hard that when you've been fired or you go through a failure that you can see on the other side that it actually can be a good learning experience for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But fear is worse.
Yeah, fear I think is definitely worse because let's just go generationally for a second. Every generation from the boomers to Gen X to millennials, and then I suspect my kids will be worse, are getting more and more risk averse the longer we go on. And like failure is the single biggest fear of millennials today, failure. And the thing is, all of us failed. I'm sure you've had failures in your life on your way through. That's how you become amazing because you learn from what you're not doing so well to inform how you're going to become great. And so the fear that holds people back is this really double-edged sword. Like you have to have them understand if you stop taking the risk and don't do the failures, you'll never get the growth that comes from the other side. So you'll sort of be stuck in your tracks.
But that's what I thought was so great about this book, because you sit here, you're so accomplished, you're so polished, you're so, as the kids of today say, on point. But you went through a time when you weren't.
Totally.
And you look back at that time, and you tell a great story in the book that I think you'd just been hired at Virgin Atlantic, and you'd gotten this big promotion, and you were told to report it the next day. And you wake up and it's everybody's friggin' nightmare. You oversleep for a very big meeting.
Yeah.
Not just oversleep. You were supposed to be there at 9 and you wake up at 11.
Right.
Yikes.
And it was a 3-hour train ride to get to the office.
Yes. So in that moment, You don't call and say, look, I'm so sorry. Because I would be thinking, what am I going to say? Was I in an accident?
Yeah.
Did my mother get something happened to my mom? But you said no. And so you walk in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when you're already 4 hours late for the meeting.
Yeah.
That alone, I would think, could lead to a firing.
Oh,
but what
totally.
happened? What happened?
Well, it's funny. I did do everything you just said. Like, I can still remember on the train ride going up to the office, like sweat bullets on my forehead going, I was in a car crash, you know, like, or trying to come up. I think it's human nature, right, to try and come up with a reason. The truth was, Gayle, I partied too hard the night before, and I thought I was on my game.
You had a liquid libation. Yeah. You were celebrating the promotion.
I was celebrating the promotion, and I was like, there is no excuse for this. And so by the time I'd really processed it in my head, I knew that, here's the thing, if you go in there and try and make up some excuse, that is a lie that will follow you and haunt you forever.
One lie leads to another, leads to another, leads to another.
And if you just say, and I did, I said to my boss, I really screwed up and I will never do this again. Like, I'm mortified, I'm embarrassed. And the funny thing is, I actually believe that epic fail propelled me to work 15 times as hard because I wanted to prove that I wasn't that person. So in a funny way, it actually helped me.
I totally got that. I was sweating with you, though, when I was reading it. But you say extreme you. Do you think everybody has an extreme personality?
It's funny,
what does this mean,
that
you?
people think it means you have to be extroverted and loud and forceful, and it's actually not that. What it means is...
But you said you were extroverted and loud.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Although one of my favorite stories in there is actually an amazing introvert who really developed her own skills to become the most extreme version of her. But
who was that?
It's a woman I worked with at Nike many, many years ago, and it's so interesting. She taught me a lot because she was like the total opposite personality to me, and she helped me to sort of understand where some of my extroverted, like running really fast stuff wasn't helping the team, and vice versa. I worked with her to help her get comfortable with big public presentations and stuff like that.
Because you talk to different extremers and they have all different personalities. But you think that we all have that or no?
Yeah, the whole point of it is that whoever you are, you have your own natural gifts, you have your own passions, you have your skills. When you pull those together and get sort of your life and career onto those terms, that is playing to your best potential. That is being extreme you. Anyone has it, but it's a case of standing up for who you are, knowing who you are, and not letting kind of the system edit you down to something that isn't you, because that is what a lot of people do.
You say find something that just blows your hair back.
Yes.
And just the visual of that made me laugh.
Yeah, actually
that's another way of saying find something you really, really like.
Yeah, it is. It is. That line, actually, my best friend when I was growing up actually passed away at the age of 33. Like, we were like the closest of friends, and she always used to say, she was one of these just like Yoda-like people, and she's like, you just have to know, does it blow your hair back? Does it just make you go, I want to get up in the morning and I want to come and do what I'm doing? And if it doesn't, keep pursuing and looking for what does.
But how did you handle, though, the setbacks? I remember you go to a job and at one point you had gotten another promotion and you were told, you know, you need to dress better.
Oh, yes, better.
Yeah,
you're right, because it was it.
You need to dress better.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It was mortifying. Like, there's nothing like being told by your boss that you've got great talent, young lady, but you just don't dress very well and you need to up your game. And, by the way, I'm going to have my girlfriend take you shopping.
Yes,
like for clothes.
Yes.
Man up, you know, go to Ann Taylor, let's do it. I mean, it was really mortifying, but it was funny. Like my first reaction, and I think this is very typical of someone, particularly in their 20s, was to I smarted in my corner. I'm like, he's not fashionable. He doesn't know.
What does he know?
What does he know?
Yeah.
And then you sort of process it and go, there's something in what he's saying that's important. And he's actually saying, I believe in you as a leader, and I'm trying to actually help you.
Yeah, so pay attention to that.
So pay attention to that piece. And the part of being extreme you is don't lose who you are. So in the end, I did go shopping with his girlfriend, but I ended up picking more sort of appropriate clothes that were in my style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So don't lose who you are, but take the message you're being given. That person's actually trying to help you.
One of the people you also talked to was Sage Steele of ESPN. And, you know, she'd had a setback in college, was put on academic probation, and she was very upset and bereft about that. And something she said stuck with me when she said, give yourself 24 hours to just mourn whatever it is, and then to say I won't say the. Well, you got so many great curse words. I wish I could say. One of them is "what the freaking frock," which I like. But give yourself 24 hours to mourn and then just move on.
Yes, absolutely. Like,
I think that is really good advice.
Such good advice.
Yes.
And because whatever that morning is, Ben and Jerry's, like whatever it is for you, you've got to feel it, and you deserve to feel it, and to be hurt, that's okay. But I do love Sage's advice that you have to, if you take one step forward, that is the beginning of momentum to coming out of whatever that issue was, right? And forward momentum is the engine of your future success. And it's all about taking one step forward and not focusing on what just happened behind.
What is it about you, your personality, or the way that you were raised, though, that you think made you who you are today?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Well, it's funny because one of the things I talk a lot about in the book is I can't stand participation trophies. And I was raised in New Zealand. So
everybody wants a trophy.
Everyone wants
Sarah.
a trophy. And let me tell you, I still haven't won a trophy, by the way. Let's just go there.
Well, I haven't either. But
exactly. My whole
I was not good in sports.
childhood. Exactly. I tried every sport. I thought I was destined for greatness, and I never won a trophy. And I kept wanting to do better. Whereas when you reward kids and say, hey, everyone's a winner just because you showed up, that's not helping them to develop their potential. It just kills me. So that's why when people ask me, is it to do with your upbringing? I'm like, well, I think there is some of that. I come from New Zealand.
You actually think that hurts kids to be rewarded when they haven't actually done it.
Totally. And they know it, by the way. Like, there's a lot of research I have in the book of these kids who are like, not only the ones who actually do win feel super annoyed that everyone else got a trophy. Do you blame them?
Yes.
And the ones who don't are like, I kind of know it. You know?
Yes.
So I think the problem with rewarding average results is that you're giving kids the expectation, particularly when they come into the workforce, that, oh, I just have to do what I'm told. And that's fine to a certain degree, but if you truly have big aspirations, you've got to go above and beyond. You've got to deliver more value than the next person to get noticed, to get promoted. One
of my favorite stories in the book is about you talking about going above and beyond. It was a job, I can't recall it now, but there were only 7 slots. Okay, and they had already hired all the 7 people.
Yes.
And you go to these people and you say, but I know I should be allowed to work here.
Yes.
I know that I deserve a place on this team.
Yes, exactly. And
they put you on. And they put you on.
Yes, yes.
As opposed to, listen, Sarah, all 7 slots are filled.
Taken, yeah.
And you said, where does that come from?
Well, I think it's...
What was your pitch? What was your pitch when you said, I should be here?
Well, what happened was I had graduated college and I was applying. It was Air New Zealand, which is my country's national airline. And I had taken these standard tests that they make everyone take, and I failed them. And I knew I had had a really bad day. Yet I'd taken the same tests for Mobil Oil, another company, and got offered the job. And I'm like, do I look like an oil girl? I don't think so, you know? But I'm like, I know I've got the skill set, and I've got to prove to this airline that I had a bad day. But by the way, I have so much passion for what they are. Like, travel is a huge part of my upbringing. So in the end, I was like, okay, I researched the crap out of the airline so that I could pitch.
Make your pitch.
Yeah, not only just you should listen to me because I'm here, because by the way, let's go there for a second. Today, you would be the same. Get thousands of LinkedIn emails saying, hi, I'm such and such. I thought I'd have coffee with you. I'm like, whereas what I did was go, you're an airline with problems to be solved. How can I help solve those problems and frame who I am in that regard? And so I managed to get through to the hiring manager, and in the end, I must have bowled him over in the interview. I don't know, but
I know. So they added an additional person.
Yes. And And the best part of the story is because there were 7 internships, and then you end up with the extra one. So we would do things like, training for, jumping out of an aircraft for a safety drill. There would be 7 safety jackets, and they'd have to go get, everywhere I went, it was like, you don't really belong here.
No, talk about not belonging.
Yeah.
You're hired on a job. You go there. The person that hired you had been fired the week before, so they don't even know you're coming.
Yes. Yeah, that was a fun one.
And instead of just tucking tail and leaving, you say, no, I was hired and I'm staying.
Yeah. Well, partly because I had just relocated to New York and maxed out all my credit cards, so I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. I can't not have a job.
But you went in the bathroom and cried, and then you came back out and said, I'm staying.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, humana.
I said, like, there must be a desk, and I considered it. What I also did, though, was I felt really terrified that I was going to get laid off because the person who'd hired me was no longer there. So I was like, how quickly can I move to come up with ideas and plans and present them to management to show that I have
you have value.
Value, yeah.
And you did.
And I did, yeah.
And you were doing what today, Sarah Bravo?
So today I am the CEO of Flywheel Sports, which is the indoor cycling company, and it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and once again, you are still kicking ass.
Yeah.
The name of the book is Extreme You, Step Up, Stand Up, Kick Ass, and Repeat. My favorite line in the book, because I also think that this is true. Let me find it. Secret to working hard is to find satisfaction in
hard work.
Hard work.
That's exactly right.
And I think that's exactly true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Continued
This has
success
been
to you.
awesome. It's been great.
CBSN. We'll be right back.